and thank you for coming out to the Private Lending 101. I guess information session would be the correct terminology for this. This is for all mortgage professionals in the province of Ontario and outside the province as well, because I truly believe that the updates that are happening will transcend across the country because private lending is on the rise and a lot of people are getting into the space and inadvertently, could potentially cause some harm to their clients if they're unassuming and unsure of how private mortgages work because there is a vast difference in how private mortgages work. And I just want to just provide some guidance. This is not what's going to be on the test. For those of you that were thinking that you're going to get all the answers to the test today, um, sorry to disappoint you. That's not the case. This is just an information session on the justifications for the update to the licensing requirement, as well as what you should look for going forward from the regulators. And they have a document that I'll provide to everyone on the call so that you guys can have access to read that at your leisure. For those of you that are joining on different platforms, StreamYard, YouTube, Facebook, LinkedIn, I welcome you all. We have people on all platforms joining, and I'm going to begin. And for those of you that are on StreamYard, we have a chat feature, and I believe there is a chat feature on LinkedIn as well. On the screen right now is a Diamond. It's the 2022 Mortgage Roundtable with a lot of powerful people on him: Jim Torlucas, John Ryder, Daryl Singer, and Isaac from Diamond and Diamond. So this is something that you guys could register for as well if you want to get some more information on that. We'll send that out to you as well. So thank you guys for coming. And I'll start by saying this. If you're not thinking about your clients tomorrow, today might be a few weeks ago with BMO chief economist, and he had a inspirational quote to start his presentation. I was thinking, wow, I should put one in there too. And this one resonated with me because if you're not thinking about your clients tomorrow, meaning if your whole intention of working in the private mortgage space is to make a fast buck and put your clients into a situation that there is no predefined exit, that might be the start of your last day doing mortgages because in private mortgages, the exit is more important than the commitment itself. You want to make sure that you're putting your clients into a mortgage that's suitable, and suitability is something I'm going to talk about a lot today. And that's going to be at the forefront of all the discussions for private mortgages going forward. Because what's happening is your client, whether it's your borrower client, because you have two clients, your borrower client needs to be put into a situation that they can get out of, but also for you, individuals that want to bring you into mortgage, you got to make sure that they're exiting those mortgages too. So if you're not thinking about your clients, and that's why it's plural, investor clients as well as borrower clients, if you're not thinking about their tomorrow, today might be your last day. So let that resonate for a bit as I move forward here in the presentation. So, a little bit about myself. My name is Sean Allen. I'm the founder and CEO of Matrix Mortgage Global. We started Matrix Mortgage Global back in 2008. I've been doing mortgages since 2002, so this is my 20th year in the mortgage field. Um, and I've been having a good time. I've been having a really, really good time just meeting great people, helping a lot of people get their financing when they have no traditional means of getting them elsewhere, whether it's an institutional lender or alternative lender. Um, since that, we started out our own private lending administration company called Capital, Canadian Administration of Private Lending. And also, too, I have been a member of the Scarborough Business Association. So, the Scarborough Business Association puts me in front of a lot of community stakeholders, and just I get to spread the message about mortgages and private financing to the mortgage community, as well as the business community in Scarborough and in the city at large. I'm also the founder of Matrix Cares Community Projects. Matrix Cares is our not-for-profit arm at Matrix Mortgage, and we do a lot of community engagement, providing financial literacy through sport. We've done quite a few community engagements. Our most recent one was we brought about 150 kids out to an Argos game to bring the flag out. That was an amazing experience. They sang with the team, did the national anthem. So some of the stuff that we do is very entrenched in the community and giving back. And I think if you're in mortgages or any business for that matter, um, you definitely need to have a component of community engagement and giving back because, like I said, you want to make sure that you're helping others. You want to help others, especially those in the community. As such, I have myself and my team, five-time broker of the year, 2018 to 2022. All the praise goes to them. I'm just the face behind the award, but it's really a team effort here at Matrix Mortgage Global. So five-time broker of the year, three-time top 100 mortgage professional. That's a great honor that puts myself as well as my team at the forefront of the mortgage discussion globally, and that takes into account Canada, Australia, New Zealand, and the UK. I'm also the host of the Crypto House podcast, and that's a podcast we put together because I'm a firm believer that blockchain technology in the mortgage space should be utilized sooner rather than later for risk mitigation, fraud mitigation, speeding up mortgage transactions, and there's a whole host of benefits of using the blockchain and NFTs. I'm not going to really get into that too much now, but I'm a firm believer in the blockchain. Not to say, a lot of people confuse blockchain with crypto and they say, oh, the crypto market's crashing. Well, I'm not out here promoting buying crypto. I'm just out here promoting the technology, which is very, very sound, hasn't crashed, hasn't been hacked. Um, so the blockchain technology and CMHC coincidentally is working on a white paper or has a white paper out, excuse me, talking about the benefits of blockchain technology and how they want to implement that by 2030. Also, too, recently I was inducted to the Scarborough Walk of Fame. The Scarborough Walk of Fame has a whole host of household names that were prior inductees, like Mike Holmes. I didn't know was from Scarborough. Gary D got inducted with me a few weeks ago. If you know Gary D, host of Family Feud, comedian, Lily Singh, podcaster, huge podcaster, and Dwayne D. Rosario, international soccer phenomenon, came from Scarborough as well. So there's a whole host of people that have won or got recognized by the Scarborough Walk of Fame. So I'm honored and privileged to also be in the conversation there as well. So we'll start here. Why private mortgages? And when we talk about private mortgage, we want to know why borrowers choose private mortgages, but more importantly, why investors choose private mortgages. And investors choose private mortgages because they're looking for a secure investment outside the traditional financing mechanisms, whether it's the stock market or GIC or buying bonds. They're looking for higher yield, higher returns. They want to invest in real estate without becoming a landlord. They want something tangible. They want to have, you know, interest, and they want to earn interest while staying tax sheltered. There's a lot of tax benefits to investing in mortgages. And they want to stay liquid as well. A lot of the times when you're getting into private mortgages, the terms are very short. You can do private bridge financing, you can do private short term loans. But traditionally, if you're doing a private mortgage, the term is generally not longer than a year. So investors like that, they're not locked in to anything long term. You could go into other alternative investments and be in for 2, 3, 5 years. But the mortgages, private mortgages, gives you an opportunity to stay fluid with the market and provide that liquidity of investment because the terms generally are on the lower term, 1 year terms, lower scale. So you're not really locked in as you would in other types of investments if you're buying like energy notes or things like that. It's a longer term. So that's a definite benefit of getting into the private mortgage space as an investor. Now, as a borrower, why would you get into the private mortgage space? Well, maybe um, you're having a hard time qualifying because of the stress test. As we all know, since 2017, the stress test came into effect and it's caused a lot of havoc for people trying to qualify. Even now, people are still having issues with the stress test as the rates have increased. So that may be a problem. Maybe you have a lot of debt that you can't qualify because your credit score has been impacted. Maybe the property that you purchased, the appraisal didn't come in at the value that you're looking for. Now your ratios are out of whack. Maybe you're coming off. Maybe you're doing your second proposal. Another big one is maybe you have tax arrears. If you have tax arrears, the banks are generally not going to pay those tax arrears out. You have to pay them first before you get the mortgage. So there's a varying reasons. Another big one is you know you may have an interest rate that's low on your first mortgage. Maybe you got your rate in 2020 when rates were 1.45%. Maybe you got a HSBC mortgage at 0.99%. That's as low as I've seen them. Right. So maybe you don't want to break that first mortgage and you're going to consolidate some credit card debt at 19, 20%. Maybe you want to get a private mortgage to consolidate that. So there's a lot of reasons, but the number one reason, regardless of where you're coming in, whether it's purchase, proposal payouts, spousal payouts, private mortgages are convenient because they're less stringent. It's easier to qualify, helps you rebuild credit and improve your cash flow. So those are the key benefits of getting those private mortgages, and it just makes the transaction easier for a lot of people. Now, albeit the cost to transact in a private mortgage is higher than a traditional mortgage. However, the path of least resistance for some people and the fact that the mortgages are shorter term may provide a band-aid solution for people, and that's why it's so important to provide that exit strategy so you can get people across the line sooner rather than later. And hence the new education requirements and the new education standards. So coming into effect next year, there are some new guidelines, and I want to just go over why those guidelines are coming in and what they're all about. So the new mortgage agent license and enhanced mortgage and broker requirements, because as a mortgage agent as well as a mortgage broker, you will be required to take this updated licensing standards course. But the whole purpose of this is to support the following outcomes: education and competency that better align with the activities in the mortgage market. A lot of times, and I've been in this industry for quite a long time, I'm seeing people come in, give people mortgages and, forget about the rate being exorbitant and, the deal just doesn't make sense. And I'm looking at these deals, trying to get people out of them. And, I just couldn't understand why people were in them to begin with. And part of that is because people just don't know what they don't know. Like I said, if you're not thinking about your clients tomorrow, today might be your last day. And there's a lot of deals out there that people got stuck with that there's just no exit strategy. And the only exit is to sell. Well, you know what? Now might not be a great time to sell because the values have depreciated 20, 30%, depending on the region that you're in. So you may have, cost someone their single greatest investment. And I'm a firm believer that, the mortgage agent course should be in schools. And I think we should be teaching this stuff in schools, because how are you going to get a society that's not educated on making their greatest single investment? That I think that should be taught in school, and I think I'm going to make a push for that. But education and competency requirements are paramount in the foundation of the new licensing requirements. And the reason for that is because we want to provide enhanced consumer protection as borrowers and lenders and investors receive appropriate levels of information and recommendations to make informed decisions relevant to their mortgage and mortgage investments. Because what's happening is friends of mortgage brokers or friends of friends say, "Hey, I got into this mortgage. I lent out some money. I had $100,000. I took equity from my home. I got a home equity line of credit, and the rate was, I don't know, 4%. And then you go out and you lend that money out at, say, 6%. Well, you know what? Rates have been increasing for the past 18 months, right? So now, as the rates are going up, you may have a negative equity situation because you just borrowed money from your line of credit to lend to somebody, and now you're underwater. So there's a lot of things that you have to be informed of, and the mortgage professional has to provide that level of consumer protection to both the borrowers and the lender investors, so that these situations that arise can have you can have a clear sight of vision for any issues that may arise down the line. So it's very important that the enhanced consumer protection is taken care of, and people are really following these guidelines, because a lot of people can and will be damaged in the next 12, 18, 24 months as we dip through a recession, which I firmly believe that we're in, and potentially a depression, but no one's ever going to talk about that. um, because even though we had a rate increase today of half a point, it's still not enough to tackle inflation, right? And we, in my opinion, just had a margin call of epic proportions, especially for those people that were drawing on their line of credit and using those funds to lend money out. Now they may be underwater. So this is something that you definitely have to take heed on, and really pay close attention to. Another factor for this education update is to provide enhanced confidence in the mortgage broker industry. The last thing we want, and the last thing I want, because I've been doing this so long and I've trained hundreds of mortgage professionals that have gone on to have great careers. The last thing you want is to have a mortgage industry of people that are incompetent, and people outside the mortgage industry, the consumers, lose confidence. So mortgage brokering, the license, we want to prepare people for a career that's positive and flourishing. And we don't want to pervert the mortgage industry with people masquerading as mortgage professionals, but really don't have the skills or the acumen to, really work in this space. So I'm a firm believer in the guidelines, and I'm a firm believer that if you are not taking the time to master your craft, and if you're not taking the time to do the right things for your client, I firmly believe that you should really exit stage left and leave the work of mortgage brokering to those professionals that take the time to, enhance their craft, go to mortgage conferences, and come on podcasts and webinars like this to enhance their skill set, so they could do good for their clients. And if you're a mortgage broker or a mortgage agent that's not in private mortgages, um, work with someone that is, because you could really do some damage to your client. And at the end of the year, when we have to do our reporting, we want to make sure that we're providing excellent service to our client. Now, here's a breakdown of some important dates for mortgage brokers, including principal brokers and agents who wish to deal in private mortgages. They should take note of these key dates. So, April 1st, 2023, the new licensing program comes into effect. Early 2023, private mortgage courses and challenge exams will be available by October 31st. The deadline to pass the mortgage course and challenge exam the deadline will be October 31st, and March 31st, 2024 would be the complete deadline for everyone to have taken and passed, or maybe not passed, the private mortgage course. And I think this is a positive step for the Canadian mortgage industry, just to provide some alignment, because there are a lot of people that just don't have a clue what's happening in the private space, and lawyers as well. There's a lot of lawyers that may be masquerading as, mortgage lawyers, but then they're doing litigation on the side and family law on the side. If you're doing a mortgage, and if you're in the mortgage business, you want to work with a legal team that specializes in mortgages, because there's a lot of nuances that are there that, you know, lawyers that are not versed are just not going to know. Last thing you want is a deal to go to a lawyer that doesn't know the mortgage industry, and they damage that file for you as well. So I just want to throw that out there. Um, One of the reasons why the regulators have come in with these new guidelines is because the errors and omissions claims for private mortgages is much higher than those of your traditional AAA and Alt-A lenders. The reason for that is the competence level. Regulated persons must maintain the skills, knowledge, and aptitudes necessary for their business activities. And like I was saying before, they should decline to act when they are unable to provide products and services in accordance with this code. So if you do not know private mortgages, you need to defer those mortgage transactions to someone that knows. Canadian Administration of Private Lending, CAPL, for those of you that don't know, we are on Velocity, we are on Biologics. We have a group called Private Lending Hub on LinkedIn. We have a website called Private Lending Hub. At the end of this presentation, I'm going to give you the Private Mortgage Survivor's Guide that will guide you for how to submit the deals, private deals, not only to myself if you have them, but also to other private lenders. But I want to set a standard, because there hasn't been a standard set for how to submit private mortgages and how to take in private mortgages from your clients. So I want to create that standard. So I'm going to give this to you guys for free, just to make sure that we're providing our clients and your clients with mortgages that are suitable. And that's the next point, suitability. So we want to make sure that regulated persons and entities take reasonable steps to present products and services that are suitable for their clients. And you must have a sound understanding of how these products and services match the disclosed circumstances of their client. And as part of that private lender survivor guide is a section called intake questions. These intake questions are at the forefront of every conversation that you have with your client. Every single client you have spoken to, you need to take those intake questions and then reduce them to writing immediately. So that way, yourself and the client know exactly where they stand the minute you have met them and introduced them to whatever solution or product that you have for them. This is going to be a game changer for you as a mortgage professional, because this intake question and subsequent summary email template will guide you in the right direction. In the event that there's some confusion down the line, you have a base to reference that's in writing that you can go back to your client and provide. All right, so that's very important. I'll provide that to you. And that ties into the last piece, which is disclosure. Regulated persons and entities must fully disclose material information to applicable parties in a transaction. And disclosure must be meaningful and made in an honest and timely manner. Like I said, with the suitability, the intake questions, and the subsequent summary email summarizing those intake questions and being sent to the client immediately after a conversation would satisfy, in my opinion, the disclosure, the suitability, and the competency, which is what the regulators are trying to do. So, how do we mitigate risk? Now, your role in the lending process, your role is to keep bouncing. Your role is to mitigate risk. How do you do that? You need to you need to validate the mortgagor and their supporting documents. And we have a document checklist we will provide you as well. You're supposed to evaluate the collateral, i.e., the appraisal. Make sure that the property's in a condition that's marketable, so that the investor can make a sound decision on providing financing. Like I said, you have two clients in the mortgage transaction. One of them is your investor client, whether it be a private investor or a MIC or a lender itself. Those are your clients, as well as your client that you're serving to provide the financing. You're the ultimate middle person in a mortgage transaction. You have to appease two people, not one, in providing mortgage financing. And your role is an intricate part of the whole picture when you're providing financing solutions to your clients. Another important factor for you as a mortgage professional is you want to ensure mortgage suitability. You want to make sure that the mortgage is suitable in the sense that the client has the ability to pay, as well as you want to ensure that the investor investing in the mortgage has an exit strategy. So your role is an intricate part, and it starts with you as the mortgage professional. Here at CAP, we're a licensed mortgage administration company since 2017, mortgages. So if you're looking for assistance, we can provide you with assistance for how to package and submit deals, whether you submit it to us, whether you submit it to another lending institution. We can be those eyes and ears to help you with that. And some of the key functions that we provide are: we ensure that the proper security is being registered. We ensure that the titles are clean. We do title searches. We ensure that the mortgages are registered in the correct priority, whether it's a first mortgage or second mortgage. Lien and writ searches. We ensure that there's no tax deficiencies or arrears. We instruct the mortgage to the borrower's lawyer, registering the mortgage on title, recovering the mortgage investment, and mitigating against risk and fraud. So those are some of the valuable things that we provide for all of our clients. Now, some of the resources that we have, like I was telling you, look at Private Lending Hub and register there to join that group. A lot of valuable information, a lot of good people, not only in Canada, you get some foreign people in there as well, just talking about mortgages. So it's a great group to join. I will send everyone out that registers on LinkedIn the Private Mortgage Survivor Guide. In that Private Mortgage Survivor Guide, you're going to have the private mortgage intake questions, your summary email, your risk mitigation checklist, and your client closing disclosure kit. Those will be the base. Because Fisco is just telling everyone to take the course, that's just the education requirement. This Private Mortgage Survivor Guide, and the name is very clever, and Laura Martin was actually paramount to providing that name, so give a shout out to her. But this kit, it's a working document, and it's going to provide the documentation needed going forward. And I hope that people take it seriously and really leverage it. But it's going to provide documentation that we use here at Matrix for the suitability and the disclosures and the competency. And I want to make this document the standard. So it's a live working document. So have a look at it. And anything else you want, please drop a comment in the Private Lending Hub group on LinkedIn, and we'll definitely add that to the group. And another important thing, too, is having a solid CRM. So we built our own CRM here at Matrix. For those of you that don't know, I didn't put it in the intro, but I have a database administration background. So prior to working in mortgages, I was a database administrator. So I'm very keen on databases and data management. And one of the things is we built our own database to manage our clients. And you guys are free to, have a look at that. You're free to get a demo. Um, no obligation to you to look at that. But what we do is we walk you through the step by step guide and process of a mortgage transaction, but not only a mortgage transaction, a private mortgage transaction. Much different than a traditional mortgage or an alt mortgage because the forefront of that mortgage is the appraisal. And we send out an appraiser. The majority, actually 100% of the time, you're getting an appraisal on a private. Pretty much 100. Maybe the one-off odd times you're not going to get an appraisal, but almost 100% of the time, you're going to get an appraisal. And that appraisal is built into the life cycle of our day-to-day activity for the CRM to function, and we give you step-by-step guides on how to manage that client and manage that relationship on a timely and key matter. So having a look at that CRM and getting a demo of that would be very beneficial to agents, whether you're experienced or not, that want to get into the private mortgage space. And I can set that up for you to just put that in the Private Lending Hub guide, Private Lending Hub LinkedIn group if you're looking for that. All right. So last but not least, future events. November 1st, I'll be at the Diamond office doing the Canadian Mortgage Summit. Sorry, the mortgage. Uh, what's the official name of that? The Mortgage Roundtable. And on the 24th of November, I'll be at the CMP's Canadian Mortgage Summit at the International Center in Mississauga. So, like I said, you want to make sure that you're keeping abreast as to what's happening in the industry. So, this will be a broker think tank, how to find the needle in the haystack. I've been, championing private mortgages since 2011, um, nominated year after year for the Private Lending Award, and then I've been winning it. For the past 5 years. So I have, something to say about that at that Canadian Market Summit. It's going to be a great presentation, as well as the one on November the 1st. So any questions, please feel free to jot them down. And we have a few here on StreamYard. And I will just get to things. Brian, I used them a couple times. Is there anything which is called performance mortgages? Like, what do you mean? What do you mean by that? I'm not quite sure. Can you get a mortgage license in Alberta while living in Ontario? The answer is yes, you can. Um, what happens if you don't take these courses? If you don't take the courses, then you will not be you would not have the education requirement to do private mortgages, and you'll just default to be a mortgage agent. That's only capacity would be to work on institutional deals. Um, Here's another one, but you can still dual lenders. Yeah, so those are some of the questions there. Any other questions? Yeah, and submit your deals to Capital on Velocity and Vilogics. That would be, benefit to you. And like I said, Private Lending Hub on LinkedIn, um, as well as uh, submitting on Capital on Velocity and Vilogic. And for those of you that want to get in contact with me, um, my email address is Shawn SHAWN at that's mother George Bravo.ca. So that's Shawn, my first name that's on the screen, at mmmgb.ca. That's how you get in contact with me. And matrix.Sean Allen is another way to get in contact with me on Instagram, matrix.Sean. Let's see. Any other questions? You can also check out capitalfunds.ca for our private administration arm, caplfunds.ca. And a lot of people are asking, how do we work with Matrix? You can send an email out to careers@mmgb.ca. Laura would be the one to assist you. Laura's, been doing this now for quite some time. She's a rock star in the market industry. So you guys would definitely. Any other questions? Are we good? We have about 33 people. And if you guys want to call me, you could feel free to reach out to me as well. My phone number is 647 999 8929. And that's 647 999 8929. Shoot me a text and I'll call you back, because I know some of you may have questions on LinkedIn. I think how many people's on LinkedIn right now? There's quite a few. I think we have about 35 people on the call right now. So I know some of you might have questions, or if you have a deal you want to run by me, if you need some help with private finance, we have lots of private funds available. I know a lot of private lenders are running out of funds. We have quite a bit of funds. We do a lot of first mortgages. This wasn't really a presentation to promote capital. It was more a presentation on the upcoming regulatory guidelines. But for those of you that do have some private mortgages that you're interested in getting financed, whether it's commercial, residential, land assembly, development, we have the facility for that. So please do, reach out. My number's on the screen. My email's there as well, and I could definitely work to assist you on that. All right. So thank you guys for coming. It's 43 minutes, and I don't want to keep you any longer. So thank you and have a good day.